Hello, everyone. This is Ira Feuerstein. You know why you're here. It's the Built Different podcast where every day, almost every week, a couple times a week, we speak to founders and C-level leaders from some really great companies. And why we're here is to hear their stories and for you to pick up a golden nugget or two. Today, I am really excited to have Alex Rodov here today, who is the managing partner of Trusted IT Group. Alex, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks, Ira. I appreciate calling and having this opportunity to talk to anyone who is interested in doing business, right? And happy to be here.
Absolutely. Well, let's just jump right in. I think it's important to set the frame, for everybody. And I think the framing should start with tell me about what your company does.
Sure. The Trusted IT Group, we are a professional services company and we focus on project management solutions and services. We usually based our services on top of Microsoft technology. So a lot of us are Microsoft MVPs, gold partner of Microsoft, and things like that. So we do a lot of Microsoft work. But our main focus is solutions and services for project management and Microsoft Dynamics.
So they must keep you pretty busy with some pretty complex projects, I assume.
Well, some projects are more complex than others, but there's definitely a portion of new type of projects, which we call it, agentic AI and agentic PMO type of projects that are sort of segue from our core, expertise into AI, and everybody's kind of looking at that kind of the same way, customers including. So we're with our customers, kind of following the journey.
I think AI is everyone's getting into it. And if you're not, you're going to be left behind.
So you thought probably we're not going to talk about AI, but it's just impossible not to talk about AI.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So do me a favor, walk me through your role and how it fits into the bigger picture at your company.
So well, back in the day, I started this company basically the day I closed on my previous company. So this is my second company that I started, and it's one of those things. My fellow future entrepreneurs is that once you start, get a taste of it, it's very hard to get off of it. I do recommend to at least try to get a taste of it. But I started the company, and it's just like when you start in the company, you are everything. You're chief financial officer, you're chief executive officer, you're chief of everything officer, right? And you have to fake it until you make it. So gladly we have more teams, more structure, and ways to run the process without me being everybody. But I am basically at this point trying to stay ahead of the game, ahead of the competition. Look at AI. Obviously, everybody's talking about AI, and how to deal with that, how to best implement and apply those new AI capabilities to our customers, and get the value to them. At the end of the day, we're looking for problems. If you think about it, we're looking for problems, and that's the entrepreneurs, search all over, right? We're looking for problems, and by fixing and providing solutions to those problems, this is how we get paid. This is how we make money, and this is what this is my mission and my role in the company. Well, I look for those issues with those customers and run towards them, right? Like we run to the fire to fix them, and that's what we do.
That's awesome. What does a typical day look like for you?
So we have obviously a lot of us are remote these days. We have offices offshore in Europe and further, and here in the United States as well. So we have our daily catch up call where we kind of catch up on major things that we have to be focusing, and we kind of break it down into different areas, strategic, tactical, and things like that. Not everyone is participating, but this is throughout the teams where we have this morning communication to kick off the day kind of thing. And then we kind of go and run our standard operation procedures, right? Like everyone has its role and what they do. We do use systems that we put in place ourselves. Like we have projects, we have assignments and tasks and objectives. So we do run this very much so like we teach our customers. So we eat our dog food, right? Is it what the saying?
Yeah, yeah,
English
yeah.
is, English is not my first language. Okay, so I may be off on some of these acronyms here, but we do use what we actually implement ourselves. So everyone gets their assignments, everyone knows what to do, and then we have systems to report that. So having the remote nature, have remote resources across, the globe, globally, it makes it harder. Makes it harder to manage if you don't have any system. So that's where we come in. We have systems of our own, Microsoft based software that we implement to the customers and that what we use ourselves.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. And by the way, English is my first language, but I don't know any other languages. So you're way ahead of the game in me.
Well, yeah, makes me.
So let's shift into the industry because, AI is changing everything, but, technology is ever evolving. What major shifts are you seeing in your industry right now?
Well, everybody's feeling that magnitude, you know, shift, seismic shifts of AI. A lot of investments, a lot of dollars have been, streamed to those investments into AI. So that creates a lot of disruption in the industry. And to be honest with you, there's a lot of uncertainty as to where it's gonna go. So we have taken off this plane, this cargo with all this, and I don't think there's a specific airport we're gonna land. Meaning that hopefully we're gonna have a good landing with AI as far as we're gonna find good value. We're gonna find a way to apply it in a variety of industries. There's still a lot of experiments going on. But this is the largest shift we're seeing. Also, the whole cloud transformation that we have seen for the last 10 years. The cloud transformation sort of slowed down with new AIs because the cloud transformation was something like the best next thing in technology, right? And it's easy to see those benefits, like everything is in the cloud, everything is managed by and scaled by the hyperscalers, and you just gonna get the benefits of that without spending on infrastructure and IT. But with AI, everybody started kind of, thinking whether this was the only and the best thing to do for the last 10 years. So now everybody's talking about the best and only thing to do is AI. So what do we do with the cloud? So this kind of vacuum that cloud may get or maybe not be financed as well as it should have been if AI shouldn't have showed up on the doorstep, right? Imagine AI is not here. Imagine we don't know anything about it yet. There would be still a lot of investments in the cloud infrastructure. There would be still a lot of investments into the cloud transformations. There's a lot of companies that are still using, on-prem and other old technology. There's still a way to improve. Is just having the cloud. But on top of the cloud, now we have AI and sort of AI may be, so the cloud industry having this pause or shift in the way it's been evolving.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's interesting to me how when new technology comes in, it can completely disrupt other technology that was very common. Crazy how things can shift so fast, you know?
Yeah, yeah. We would go to all these conferences and we go to all these events where we talk to Microsoft, where we talk to Snowflake, where we talk to Databricks, we talk to all kinds of companies that provide data platforms and provide cloud services, and it's just so much different from it used to be. Basically, a percent of their content is focused on AI, and we're talking about huge companies. We're talking about these monsters like Microsoft, right? they're shifting, they're making their voice heard. The acquisitions of OpenAI and others, they're putting the money where the mouth is. So it's basically there. And I do think that most of the businesses are not ready. Most of the businesses are not ready to change at the pace of AI is developing. That's the gap that we will have to fill somehow, and it's probably going to be painful. And when it's going to be painful, come and talk to us, right? Come and talk to us, entrepreneurs, helping and those customers to walk through this journey and get the value for the buck, right? Get the value for the money that they're spending. And if this is AI, then we're going to be able to advise as to what's the right course of action, what's the right tool or process to automate in order to make this about.
Yeah, interesting point for everyone watching. I saw a stat the other day that blew my mind. It basically said that they looked at the businesses in the United States today, and 4% of those businesses are quote unquote using AI today. Now, using AI could be they have no idea what they're doing, right? It could be they're just using ChatGPT and they don't even know how to prompt it. But within 4 years, it's going to be 80%.
Yeah.
So if you're not using AI today, you need to contact people like Alex to help you do that.
Yeah.
You're going to get left behind if you don't. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, I'm happen to be also the member of the Gulf Coast CEO Forum over here on the west southwest Florida here. We have talk to all the CEOs that are part of the membership club as well. Most of the folks that they just don't really know how to do this and how to implement this, and just starting the journey. But I know that there's a programs in place for a lot of those CEOs to go ahead and develop the programs, right? To develop and learn, what is it the best way, what is it the best way in our business, in their business to apply AI, and what kind of value it can bring to the table. A lot of times, everybody hesitating to talk about saving on resources. Maybe you don't need as many team members to run your business. Well, that's a very sensitive topic, but I think most of the conversations that we've been part of about everybody's afraid of their jobs. AI is going to replace their jobs. The common notion about this is that if you are not going to learn how to apply AI in your job, you will likely be replaced by the person who will know how to do that. So meaning
Yes.
that
Yes.
it's not so much as AI will replace a person, right? It's more about AI will allow to do much more, and people who know how to do this, know how to use it, know how to apply best in their jobs, will stay have their job and keep their job, because that's what we as entrepreneurs are and business owners are looking for. We want to do more with what we have. We're not so much into firing people, because firing people is a problem. You will have
Yes.
to rehire and you will have to retrain. So at the end of the day, we would like to hire the right people, would like to keep the right people who would be able to learn the trade, right? To learn how to use this new technology. That's something that kind of shift with the HR departments out there.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. So let's shift into kind of business growth, because that's a key topic for new and budding entrepreneurs. So from a growth perspective, what's working well for you right now?
Well, the process, right? Even though if you talk to anyone entrepreneur, especially in the early stages, the business is like a little madhouse. Everybody's running around, in 100 miles per hour, and everybody's kind of doing a lot of things. And you have to sort of, be able to multitask and be everybody, feel all the roles and kind of run and fake it until you make it kind of thing, right? But at some point, you would have to figure out Use your best skills to figure out where is this repeating? What is it out of all of these pieces of chaos, right? What is it can be a documented and what can be reproduced with less effort, right? Reproduced with less effort, also tying this to all kinds of attributes like finance. This still needs to make money. This still needs to keep the team. This still needs to, keep the customers happy. This still needs to do a lot of these different things, but breaking it down and be more, and we're engineers. I have an engineer. A lot of times I have a complaints that I have an engineer mind. I'm less, sometimes I have a creative mind, creative head, and sometimes I have an engineering head. So you need to kind of wear both hats, use both parts of the brain to be creative, and yet don't forget that you have that engineering brain, engineering part of the brain where you would need to kind of put systems in place and software and solutions that will get things more organized. And this is where I can, kind of get to the second gear. You
Okay.
need to get the second gear, the third gear, the fourth gear, but you can't get into the 100 miles per hour with the carriage, right? But you gotta replace those wheels and replace those engines and replace those, make sure the chassis and everything is on par to kind of get you up to speed at the highway speeds. I have a
Yeah.
bit mechanical engineering background. So a lot of times it's easier for me to talk about, the car or mechanics.
Yes. So from a growth perspective, what's been frustrating or slowing things down for Trusted IT?
Well, I won't say anything new. I guess the team is gold. You and a team is also vulnerable, and then it's people. I always like to say it's much. Like when someone is having an issue with the software and the error comes up, or the code is broken, and we need to kind of look and fix this. I was like, look, guys, this is just so easy. This is a blessing. You are dealing with computer. It doesn't have, like emotions or things like that. It's very stubborn thing. You can always fix it. And once you fix it, it will never ever break, right? It will be fixed forever. And the technology is easy, especially with AI, you can write the code these days, and fix those issues. But finding you should find a way to build a team, to hire the right people for your team, and kind of grow them, and cherish them. You gotta, we have this, we have one of the years we have a New Year's holiday T-shirts, whatever it takes. Do whatever it takes to keep that team organically happy and growing, because they need to take care of the customers. They need to take care of the business. They need to take care of many, many things for you. You have to take care of them.
Yeah.
So take care of your team, build a team, and that's probably the most important part of the business is the people. I mean, especially in our business, because we produce systems in place, we produce services for customers. A team is extremely important for us.
Are there any metrics that you are particularly watching most closely when it comes to like growth of the business over the year?
Well, I don't have anything specifically in mind. We do obviously want to grow at a certain rate. We're looking at an average, 5 to 10% at least, which is considered to be a organic growth. Sometimes, we have better numbers. Sometimes not. We all have lived through the different times and pandemic and things like that. And like any other business, you have better years than you have not so good years. So, but overall, obviously, we would like to see the growth again. 10% is a good healthy growth. I would say watch out for those bigger numbers. Let's say if you're growing, very fast, this would present a challenge to build a team that is sustainable longer term. And that's something that we have also experienced. We had some years where we were exploding the growth, and you have to be really, really careful as far as how you grow and who you grow with, and that's something to watch out for. But obviously, we're looking for the growth, healthy growth numbers out there.
Yeah, healthy growth is important. Unbelievably fast growth can be very dangerous.
Yeah.
I still remember, Alex, this was like 10 years ago. I think it was during a Super Bowl. There was a UPS commercial of this new business. They just started first day in business. They turn on the system online and they see the first order come in. And everyone's like, yeah, going crazy. And then second, 10th, and they got overwhelmed. And you just saw them looking at each other like, uh-oh, we can't handle this. So your point is well taken. You need to have healthy growth.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that should be a slow growth, but healthy growth with a plan. Okay, if we do grow 100% year over year, what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
And you should take your experience, like how much it took to build this team so far, and you should take that into account and say, okay, well, if I need to double the team, then or how do I grow this team without creating a bad culture, or make somebody else within current team not comfortable with that growth. So there's a lot. You're dealing with people, right? We're dealing with people is much more complex than dealing with technology. So I always say that 80-20% rule in our practice is that the technology is very easy, guys. When I talk to my customers, technology is like super easy. And everybody's concerned about, oh, there's new technology, how it's going to work and how it's going to connect here. Guys, this is the least of your problems. How are you going to make your people consistently taking advantage of this new solution? How do you make these people to actually use the automation to drive the business forward? That is the 80% of your problems. The rest of the 20% will take care of it. It's easy. We do this, day in and day out. The 80-20 technology is easy. The business side is 80% of the complexity.
Yeah, I agree. So if you look ahead like to a year from now, end of 2026, where do you want the business to be by the end of next year?
Well, we actually, having internal discussions. We have this business meetings that are going on a regular basis. So we're discussing the 2026 plans and kind of making sure we have the right resources and right tactics in place to get that done. But I think what we're heading to in 2026 is to proactively driving our marketing activities. And this is something that we've been working on for some time to flesh out some of the inconsistency that we used to have within our messaging, with our positioning, and as you know, we do follow Microsoft largely, and Microsoft itself is going through a lot of transformations with AI and adding AI co-pilots to all the parts of the applications. So we are focused on the Microsoft Business Application services, and a large part of this is our Protectum XPM and Microsoft Dynamics 365 is our focus, and that would be our focus in 2026, as well as our proprietary data platform, data pipeline tools like Friday Report. And this is something that we're kind of finally going to have the full package in place. And that's what we're going to go with 2026. Very excited about that. We're lining up some events, some trade shows, and something like that to drum up our messaging and get more word out, give out to those prospect customers as much of the value as we can before we engage with them and start helping. So give is our mantra for the 2026. We're going to give out a lot of the knowledge about Power Platform, Microsoft Power Platform, AI, business applications like Project XPM, Projectum XPM, and Microsoft Dynamics 365. So that's our plan for next year.
Awesome. Awesome. And if you could fix just one thing that's holding you back or even just slowing you down, what would it be?
Any day, I would take a brilliant resources that would hire any day. If I see someone who is really great, I would always hire this people. I mean, it's hard to find people who would be knowledgeable and passionate about what they do. And I really like working with people, and I really like if I see someone that I see I can work with and grow the business with, I would do my best to put the offer out and get a new people hired and kind of drive the business with them. This is always exciting for me to get people to learn more, to share my experience with them and create something new, because that creates opportunities. Having the right people around you will create opportunities for you out of nothing, right? Out of nothing, just by having the right people around you pushing this forward, that creates opportunity of nothing from nothing. That's incredible. I think this is incredible.
I agree, 100%, 100%. So now, before we wrap up, I want to ask you one last thing. Now, our audience is filled with founders, they're leaders, they're building every day, they're thinking about building something. What is one tip that's helped you grow your business? Something real, something someone can put into practice like right now.
I would use back in the day when we were just starting, when I was just very young and ambitious and just reading different books about anything in business. Um, my early days Grant Cardone books were taking a lot of impact on me. So I would one of the tips that I picked up from there is that action is more senior. Just think about it. Action is more senior than anything. You can have a great strategy, you can have the right talent, you can have the right code, you can have the right tools, you can have the right mindset, but if you don't do it, it will never happen, and it will never be ready. It will never be ready 100%, no matter how you
Yeah.
prepare for it. Action is senior than anything.
So it's interesting that you say that, because literally right before we got on this recording, I was on LinkedIn and a buddy of mine runs a $300 million company. He's CEO, big, big company. And he put a post on LinkedIn today that basically said, making a decision based on what you think should be done and it fails is better than no decision at all,
Yep.
because you learn from that. You don't learn from not making a decision, which is basically what you just said.
Yeah, yeah. There's a rephrasing of that. Like when you made a decision, you won already. You made a decision, you already won. You already had of where you were just a minute ago. So make
Yes.
and those decisions, they'll be wrong decisions, but you can't get where you can get to at this level, like the guy you just mentioned, is that by you can get to this level by making the right decisions all the time. Think about it, right? You will never make all decisions right, but you have to make those decisions, and action is senior from that perspective. You have to act. Yes, you should have a plan, right? You better to have a plan, but sometimes, again, action is senior, and you have to do things. Otherwise, it will never happen ever if you don't do it.
That is solid. That is super solid. Thanks for sharing that. All
Absolutely.
right, everyone. If you enjoyed this conversation, make sure you like the video, subscribe, share it with all your friends. We have way more conversations coming with some really just great people coming your way. Alex, thanks again for joining me today. You were awesome. Seriously awesome. And
Ira, thanks a lot for having me. I appreciate your inviting me. I had a great time, and hope the viewers had a great time too.
I'm sure they did. And now if you're watching this, now you know what you need to do. Get out of here, get out of YouTube, get out of LinkedIn, and go to actually do something, make a decision, and build something great.
Yes, action is senior.
Action is senior. We're out of here.